To the meeting, but you don't have to go.
Planning.
Sorry.
No problem. Okay, so we need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make that motion to approve the agenda, Ross.
Thank you, Fred. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, John. John, your vote?
Yes.
Gene, your vote?
Yes.
Fred?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Okay, so the agenda is approved. This portion of the meeting is set aside for public comment, for the public to address the board on matters not on this agenda, but under our jurisdiction. Do we have any members of the public wishing to be heard? There's Catherine joining us.
Are you in Hawaii?
Me?
Yes.
Yes, how do you know?
Welcome,
That's
Catherine.
actually it's actually my aloe vera plant in front of my house.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah. Sorry I'm late.
It's all right. We're already halfway through the agenda.
Perfect.
We're to item D, approval of minutes of May 25th meeting.
Ross, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the minutes from the last building and planning meeting.
Thank you, John. We have a
I'll
second.
make the second, Ross.
Fred seconds. All, let's see, we gotta do this by voice vote. John, your vote?
Yes.
Fred?
Yes.
Gene?
yes.
Catherine?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. So we'll go to item E, master plan project and budget reconciliation. Tim, are you gonna review that?
No, Chet, again, obviously has not been available to, and so we do not have a new set of financials on the project.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to push those back till next month.
Very good. And let's do that then. Train, any updates, Bob, on train?
Just wrapping up final details. We installed the detection in the building that was on the plans. In walking it with the inspector, we realized that there was 2 smoke detectors missing. That wasn't going to allow us to pass. So the change order was completed and it's approved by OSHPD. And I'm waiting on the contractor to come up and put in the 2 additional heads. And at that point, I believe we are ready to close the project with OSHPD. You know, we're still ironing out a few last details with Train, trying to get, I've challenged Train to get us the documentation we need in order to get the last final payment from the California Energy Commission. So I'm waiting, giving them a couple weeks to try and produce that paperwork.
All right, good. I hope now with the gas figures, they can do that and it all is kosher.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions for Bob from any of the board members?
I don't
Okay,
have any questions.
thank you.
Just one question. Bob, you said there was no smoke detectors. Why didn't you just put up a non-smoking sign and solve that problem?
You know, I wish I'd have come up with that. That would have saved me a bunch of money.
Easy. Plan, which we have a bullet point under that new building update. So where are we with our plans?
Okay, so we've had, I think it's the 3rd meeting with all of the department managers, and we've got it down to, I think pretty much everything is in the proper locations, on the walls, on the counters, cabinets, shelving, etc. So I think there's one last meeting to go over what's called design development. And then at that point, they will roll into construction drawings based upon us signing off that those plans are exactly what we want. And also, as far as do we want to discuss at this time the new building down the street?
Yes.
It's part of the master project. So obviously we've designed and approved the new floor plan. We're about 90% done with the electrical. What I'm doing now is I'm creating, because we have no plans of the building. So we're having to recreate the electrical plans, the HVAC plans, and the reflected ceilings and stuff. So obviously the architectural floor plan is done. We're about 90% complete on the electrical, which is testing every outlet and determining exactly what breaker and what panel they are fed from. Then we will complete the reflected ceiling plans and lighting locations and an HVAC drawing, which will tie in with the reflected ceiling plan as well, as far as where the grills are and various things. I hope to have that done by end of next week. And then we will forward, we'll have to make a decision. We'll have to get a quote from our architect to create a set of drawings for the county to approve. And obviously this will only be just adding a few interior walls, taking down a couple of walls, but mainly just adding some walls, one exterior door, you know, some rerouting of electrical, maybe some rerouting of some HVAC ductwork. It will not be a very extensive set of plans, so hopefully it won't be very expensive. But obviously then we'll get a quote for drawing those for the board to approve. And then he can proceed with the drawings and we can get them submitted to the county. And, you know, we're gonna pre-start some of the work that is not driven by, you know, inspections and things like that, like painting of existing walls that are not going to change. And so hopefully, you know, in a couple of weeks, we'll start some of that work, and then, you know, we'll roll right into completing the walls and getting that work done.
I had a question about that.
Yes.
Is the plan to not use the Dr. DeHo's building, the one that we're leasing from the FMC?
Not for any of the relocated departments.
No, we want to maintain that for clinical use.
Okay.
Yeah, so that will remain
So the
clinical.
program will stay there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the idea is that let's put some patient revenue generating departments in there.
It could. We actually provided office for the CLIP staff down there. But, you know, again, we're talking about possibly doing some outpatient or services and things like that. That we have to flesh out a little bit more. So we'll get you a call.
Worried about using that building with GI, because that's where GI.
Yeah, no, that'll stay. That'll stay. We're looking at maybe add some things to it.
That's subject to change. We're leasing the building, so at any time, I mean, we're not stuck in there. If we
No.
want to make a change, we can, right?
Correct.
Absolutely.
Correct.
And then Bob, you mentioned you're going to get a quote. Is it going to be a local quote, an architect? This is not Oshkosh.
Right. Now, that's up to what the board wants me to do. I know of a couple local architects in Bakersfield, if you want to call that local, that I could get quotes from, you know, to draw this set of plans as well. You know, we don't have to limit it. We don't have to limit ourselves to the architect of record on the hospital.
Well, we can certainly get a bid from him, and we can get a bid from a couple, maybe one or two other architects local here,
Is there,
just
is
for
there
comparison
one,
purposes. Yeah.
is there one around the area here?
To my knowledge, there is one architect is located across the street from Taco Bell. You know, just down there
Right.
behind the damn corner.
Next to Sunrise.
Still active?
Next to Sunrise.
Yeah, right.
Oh, Nancy Shabest.
Nancy. Now, I did approach her several years ago to see if she wanted to work on, be like the site architect, working with our architect and maybe doing some of the special projects related to the master project. And I called and left a couple messages and she never even returned my calls.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know if
never
she's
actually
active.
spoken
I
to her.
haven't seen it for a while.
Anybody else familiar with another contractor that appeared that maybe, or an architect that we don't know about, or?
I think she's the only one, but I think she does like the hay bale architecture kind of stuff.
My understanding, she does sustainable
Yeah, that's
stuff, which can be, you know, custom homes that are solar
Yeah, that's the
and
one.
all sorts of high efficiency stuff. I think that's her thing.
Yeah.
From what people have told me. Anyway, so I mean, I certainly can call her and approach her.
Bob, this is
Yeah,
Rob.
Good if we can come up with at least, you know, some bids for the next meeting and stuff like that, so we can kind of get this moving forward. You know, again, like I said, this is kind of the first phase of getting this thing off the ground and getting these departments moved out. So really kind of want to get that kicked off.
Yeah, but to answer your question, we do not use, we're not required to use Michael on this one.
We might be able to shortcut this process a little bit. I'm not convinced that we need an architect for this. We'll probably need an engineer. And there are lots of civil engineering firms in Bakersfield that deal with the county permit process every day. It may be best just to go straight to a civil engineer. The architects are going to come up with the floor plan and the relationships and the aesthetics. It's already done. Bob's already done that work.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, they're going to yield it to the engineer anyway. I mean, they're going to turn it over to them.
Well, but I understand where you're coming from. We would have to approach the county and see what their requirement is. I did a project many years ago with the county, Kern County, in that it was a church that has been built and is operating in Tehachapi. And I drew the entire architectural sheets, like 24 pages of drawings myself. And then I had a mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, and a structural engineer do their portions of the projects. County wouldn't accept the plans because I'm not a licensed architect. So what I did is I then got an architect who drew plans for me to review my drawings, make a few minor suggestions. I made a few little changes on the plans, and then he stamped the plans, and then the county accepted them.
They want to stand.
But we could certainly approach them on a minor remodel and say, do you require an architectural stamp on the drawings?
I ran the public counter down there for a number of years. So I'm completely familiar with the building permit process. I know it intimately. I maybe encountered an architect a half a dozen times my entire years working there. It's all civil engineering. That's why I say bypass the architect and go straight to a civil engineer. We don't need to hire both. And the architect is going to turn to the civil to say, we need your stamp on this.
All right, we'll check it out.
Yeah, we'll reach out to the county and just run that by them.
I rarely use civil engineers because I rarely do site work. Site work is what the civil engineer does. Parking, et cetera.
But they also do like tenant improvements for commercial buildings. Like I say, hardly ever dealt with an architect in the permitting process.
I'm not arguing with you. We've had different experiences in the past.
Okay. Well, I'll send you 3 or 4 different civil engineering firms that I'm familiar with, that I dealt with when I was there, that I know they're familiar with the permitting process, and maybe you can get bids from them.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, great.
Sounds good.
It just may save us some time and some money.
Yep, I agree. Check it out.
Bob, is there, for that kind of work, you're busy. I don't know how you get stuff done. You need some help. What could you use for help? Could we get a temporary contractor
Well, by the time we're ready to do the work, I have 2 guys working for me that are nothing but projects. And they have all of the contracting experience that I need as far as what we're going to build.
Okay, if you need help, we'll find help one way or another.
Understand? Very cool. Understood. Yeah, I mean, obviously, as we get farther into this, clerical help is going to be needed more than people physically putting together studs and drywall and electrical.
Okay.
In the worst case scenario, come down to it, I can help you.
All right. Oh, God. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say on the subject about clerical help, so yesterday at our board policy and personnel meeting, we went through the 3 binders of the plant operations and the fact that they need to be updated. I know you're very overwhelmed, but I'm just thinking.
Already working on it.
I met with Bob last night.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I just know we need to have all that, compliant when we start the construction process. But I'm just wondering if a clerical person can help you alleviate some of that paperwork stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Going through and updating everything.
I've never worked at a hospital where I didn't have one.
Okay.
So I came here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, just wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, we'll begin laying out job responsibilities and stuff like that. Like I said, I think I
Yeah. And
came out in
the-
support of that as well. I think, like I said, but I think what we need to do is build the need, show what that person's gonna do, and then bring that back to the committee to get a vote on that.
Yeah, and sometimes it's good if it's a guy that has some construction background, but doesn't mind doing office work. I mean, I would dearly love to steal my old department assistant from San Joaquin who does nothing but the construction paperwork for 5 hospitals for Adventist Health, but I don't know if I can steal her or not. I haven't approached her because there's no position to offer her at this time. But she has all the experience needed.
Okay, anything else? or-
That's all.
The other thing I wanted to share as it relates to the building down the street, I did send a letter to them notifying them that we would like them out by July 31st. Also, again, and it was interesting after I sent that, we also sent along an invoice for the back rent, which I think was about $5,800, something along those lines. And as a matter of fact, there's another invoice that Heidi just prepared yesterday that will go out at the end of June here to cover the month. And so, literally I came in that went out on like a Thursday or Friday. Yeah, I think Heidi hand delivered it down there. And on Monday morning, there was a trailer down there, pulled out the stove and the refrigerator and everything else. They were clearing that end suite out, which they were supposed to have been done like 90 days ago. And so anyway, it's like I said, I've just finally just said, listen, we've got to get moving. And, again, I had originally told you, 90 days, 30 days to clear that one suite out, 90 days to clear the rest of it out. And it's now been over 90 days. I said, I'll give you till the end of July to go ahead and get the church moved. And, like I said, we'll go from there. And so haven't heard a word back from him yet. And so other than just, they're still having services.
Yeah, they were there this last Sunday.
So, but they were definitely moving forward, and we'll see what happens with if they come check shortly. So, but like I said, we've got the next invoice ready to go out on that as well. But like I said, we've given them more time than we originally shared with them that they would have, and so forth. So I have no problems moving forward with that. So just so because like I said, we're at a point now where we're ready to go in and start now that we have a set of plans and stuff like this, even though we've got to get some of the engineering stuff worked out, we want to be able to be in a position where we can just, okay, great, let's get started,
Right.
Let's get that process.
Do we expect them to pay the invoice? I don't know. I'm just.
I expect them to pay it, yeah.
Okay.
How far behind are they, Tim?
They paid nothing.
They paid nothing. It's been we sent them an invoice for 3 months. So, and then like I said, they've got 1 more month coming up here. So,
Thank you.
my gut is that was their incentive. Like, I better get out of here or else.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But yeah, I expect that they're going to pay. Listen, I've been very clear to them. I put that in the letter that, listen, we're a public agency. We have to charge rent. We have no option on that. And so, and he knew that because we told him that when we first met with him. So,
Did we have a contract with them, a rental or a lease contract with them?
it's a month to month. So there was no lease to begin with. He was on a month to month. That carried over
Okay.
when we bought the building.
Okay, but did it follow with the purchase of the building? I mean, was there anything in writing with that?
No, it just continues on the way it was. That's what we just assumed what was there. So
How much a month is it? It's not.
$1,750.
15.
Okay.
So also as part of the master project, we're working on the emergency generator drawings and the architect has been waiting on me. We've got to map the underground utilities where the generator is going because we know we have several lines that are going to pass under or have to get rerouted. It took me a little while to locate a company that does that and get set up with them. They will be out tomorrow morning at 6:30. And we'll get that area all mapped out and get that information off to the architect so they can finish the drawings on the emergency generator.
Good, good. And that the new emergency generator, once it's in and installed, it'll power the whole block.
Yes, all the buildings on the main campus. It doesn't pick up the clinic or accounting house or anything. But yes, all of the hospital buildings will be basically 100% covered.
That's great. Okay, good.
How much trouble would it be to go ahead and extend it over there, or do we already have a backup?
We do not have backup, and it's not easy to extend. It would require permanent encroachments under the city streets, trenching under the streets or boring and bringing power over there. And then it has to be able to be disconnected without, if it falls down, it doesn't affect the hospital. There's a lot of criteria of feeding non-hospital buildings from hospital building systems.
Right. Well, we do have a plan though. What we want to do is, again, this building that we're in here, the trailers here, we have a Generac generator on this building that we got through the county, wasn't it?
Yes.
And so our plan is that when we move out of here, that we'll probably move that over to the clinic. So the clinic will have a permanent generator system tied into their gas tank over there.
And what we did for the clinic during the outages from Southern Cal Edison when they were upping the infrastructure was we wired into the building with a plug on the outside so that they can take the mobile clinic, start the generator, plug a cord into the generator, plug it into the building, and it maintains all of their drug refrigerators and freezers.
Yeah, vaccines.
Wow, that's super.
So that worked very well on our outages the other day, of which we have one more short one coming up.
Yeah, I talked about that earlier.
Did you happen to contact the water company up there about their lines that maybe are in the street that we could tap into?
As far as for what? I'm not following.
The landscaping?
Water for our cooler?
Oh, no, I have not had a chance to approach Scott as far as Kissick, as far as bringing over the non-potable water.
Yeah. Okay. I know that your list is a mile long. I just wanted to check on that.
It's on the list, but it hasn't made up to being worked on.
Okay, that's fine, Bob. Thank you. Any other questions on the construction project or the new building?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll move on to item F, the soils engineering OWTS change order. And I'll turn that over to you, Bob.
Yeah, so as you know, we have, the State Water Board has been making us jump through a lot of hoops and do a lot of additional testing. And they requested it for the first 2 quarters of the year. So that was obviously January, February, March, and then the report for April, May, and June. Those reports are done and have been turned in. And the original scope of work from our engineers was to cover those 6 months. Now, the challenge is that they have not come back to us with their findings, because that's going to take them probably another, 3 to 6 months to come back to us with, have we met the criteria from the lawsuit back in 92 or whenever it was? And therefore you have cleaned everything up and we're going to reduce your monitoring to X amount, per month and week and whatever. So until I get that report, we still fall under the criteria of having to monitor all 10 wells, each month or each quarter, excuse me, not each month. I monitor the treatment plant monthly, weekly, and daily. But as far as my reports that I send up every month for the next 2 quarters, this cost is to cover taking the samples from all 10 monitor wells, which most of them are 80 to 100 feet deep, and then sending